that one season. So Manimal, Misfits of Science, the original Flash show, which wasn't
Yep.
nearly as good as the later, but I think
No.
could have gotten the Mantis. I mean, obviously, a lot of these
Right.
superhero shows, because in the '80s it was like, why?
Exactly.
Because that was such the remnants of Batman, was like, we want all the superheroes to be kitschy, and
Yeah.
if you try and take it more of a serious tone on it, it was like no one watched it for that. So those shows will probably be bigger hit. Well, obviously, Flash had how many seasons?
Well,
Yeah, so
yeah, too many actually. I mean, yeah, Flash got a little out of hand. I mean, they said Arrow. I mean, Arrow did too. All the everything except
Supergirl,
Legends of Tomorrow.
I tried. Legend of Tomorrow, of all of them, Legend of Tomorrow kept me the
Yeah,
longest.
me
But
too.
even Supergirl, I was like,
Yeah, man. I'm like,
but
dude,
I was looking for
that's a
Helen Slater too. I'm
stretch.
sorry, I was looking for Helen Slater.
Correct. And we never got a Power Girl scene.
Thank you,
We never got a
thank
Power
you.
Girl, and they didn't have to do it the way that they did it. Just a mention would have been
It'd
perfectly
been
fine.
fine. It'd have been
They're like,
fine.
I'm Power Girl. I'm Kara from Earth 2. You know, I'm like,
I'm
come on, man.
fine.
I mean, like, it was
But
right there all the time.
I will say, any Halloween party that I'm at, if someone dresses Power Girl, they win.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
it's automatic.
it's a three-way tie between Power Girl, the comic version of Starfire, or if you know Wildcats, Voodoo. If you know Wildcats, Voodoo. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, man,
yes.
that's awesome.
With with an honorable mention of Katy Perry, who voiced Smurfette, if she does a live action
Yeah.
Smurfette.
All right. Well, you know what? With that, let's go ahead and get going.
Save us from ourselves. That's it.
Welcome to the Fandemic. This is a Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube live podcast show that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you. In the show, we dive deep into the hearts of fandoms and celebrate the things we love. From sci-fi to fantasy, movies to TV shows, comics to video games, we explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we'll take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Expect passionate discussion, in-depth analyses, things under the bed, many side quests. So, whether you're a die-hard enthusiast or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, the Fandemic is the place to be. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Butin, and with me every week is the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, the unverified twin of one Shamar Moore in the nipples. And who are you, sir?
I am Brian S. Dennis. So this week, the S stands for Beast.
Yes, it does. All right. Well, you know what? Let's not bury the needle anymore. What are we going to talk about today? And I think we're going to have some of the likes for our TV show and movie of the weeks.
Well, kind of like when you slowly pull that box from under the bed, we're gonna try and see how much we can fit in to the space we have available. So we got a couple things we're going to talk about today. We're going to cover a little bit of, we're both fans of lawman Bas Reeves, so we're going to cover a couple things like, hey, Bas Reeves is a real person. What about some other real life people we would think we love to see Taylor Sheridan and anyone else maybe take a stab at?
Yeah.
Not literally, but interpreting them. And of course, we're going to talk about a lot of things Marvel, because we had a movie, The Marvels, you and I went to go watch, but also we had some big news rumor-wise about where the Marvel universe may be having, with, at long last, the introduction of the Fantastic Four. So, sir, let's hit it off with our hits of the week. Sir, what are your favorites of the past 7 days?
All right. So, well, I guess I'm going to say the Loki season 2 finale is going to be my show.
All right.
It was so good. Invincible was close.
This was really good. Absolutely.
Invincible was really good.
Yes.
Lawman and Bass Reeves was also really good.
Yes.
However, man, like I can't compete with that Loki finale.
That was really good, really
He is
deep.
the time stone.
He is. He is the time stone. We also my only criticism was when you decide your outfit that you're gonna wear for the rest of eternity, give yourself some boots, man. The slippers, I'm like, I know Tom Hiddleston, dude, you're European. You got to pull out way better than me. But bro, I needed laces in the kicks, man. Give me a pair
Yeah.
of Jordans even. But within that, and this was just where my head went
Mhm.
as he was grabbing the strands of time and the different branches and the green. My head went straight to Swamp Thing. Like I really want Alec Holland
The
to show up.
green.
Like
The
I really
green.
just want the green the
The
green.
green. Yeah.
But also, and at this point,
The green.
the green. So at this, that's what an overweight Thor did.
Yeah, he did.
But so at this point, do you think he has finally surpassed his brother?
No. No, I don't think so, but I think he's even with Thor.
Okay, he's even with Thor. He's even with Thor. All right.
And I mean, and man, I guess like he can make any reality that he wants now.
Yes.
So he's probably the most powerful being in Marvel.
So this is where this gets very interesting. So, from both reading online and just my own thought processes, so we know we're going to Secret Wars at some point, and we know there's definitely, especially as we're about to delve into Marvels here in a minute, the idea of the multiverse that we've seen bits and pieces of. When we had the third Spider-Man movie, when we got the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, with the TVA and the two seasons of Loki, and honestly, with Marvels, we're seeing the idea of the multiverse expanded upon. Loki at this point is the loom, right? He
Yeah.
is that thing which, at this point we kind of have two. He who remains. So
Yeah.
so before we delve into other things, where do you think Loki's involvement? So a lot of so there's this twofold, and then I'll get to my actual question.
Okay.
So part of the discussion, especially if you look on Reddit, is this is the end of Loki. Not that the
Yeah.
character is being written off, but we really probably won't see Loki as a consistent character anymore.
Correct.
He now becomes kind of an entity similar to the Watcher.
Yeah.
The other side of it is he's going to take an active role in the MCU, possibly in Secret Wars. Which do you think is more likely? We see Loki actually in Secret War. And by the way, I'm repping my Georgia Southern, my alma mater shirt. Go Eagles. Do you think we see like Loki as a singular being in the future, or do we see this kind of Loki from afar? This entity. What do you think we're more likely to see in the future?
So
from Loki?
here's my quick take on that, without because you brought up some good points that I hadn't even really thought of. Is I think that the next time we're gonna see Loki is in the Kang Dynasty movie.
Okay.
Maybe at the end of that, maybe it's a secret scene or whatever. But I think he's gonna start the Secret Wars to battle whatever is left over of Kang.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. That's
I think,
fair.
man, that's you know what? I like that. I actually like that a lot. Yeah. So I think there's a good way because of the history that he has with Kang that they
Gotcha.
can easily bring him back in the Kang Dynasty. But I definitely think he's going to have a big part to play in Secret Wars.
So you saying that makes me think of one thing just really quickly.
Yeah.
So, and knowing that these two gentlemen have at least a friendly connection behind the scenes,
Yeah.
which is Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan, if we're going to have a multiversal version of this, there are going to be versions in which either Killmonger exists or possibly Killmonger is Black Panther. So Marvel, if you've not already mapped this out, if you could give us some Michael B. Jordan again with this as either Killmonger or, and not to take away from, I think Shuri's going to do Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
But if you give us another version or a Golden Panther or something like that, I would love this guy. I love him some Michael B. Jordan, just to see him show up. And how great would it be a scene where you have Jonathan Major, Michael B. Jordan, and Tessa Thompson from the third Creed movie also in a Marvel product?
I mean, that's pretty. That would be pretty cool, man.
So I got a quick tap for you then.
Okay.
If you were Tessa Thompson, who would you rather date, Michael B. Jordan or Carol Danvers?
Carol Danvers.
I love that you're not sure of your own answer. Like Carol Danvers.
I think that's the one I would be rooting for.
Well, for a variety of reasons, folks.
Right.
And before Bradley goes too nerd deep, we're gonna move forward, sir. Okay, sir. Yes. So Loki was your show that we're gonna get. Bas Reeves was really good. Invincible's really good. I loved. And we're not sure if it's true in RIP, but I love that they delved into Alan the Alien a little bit. And similar to Peter Parker, it is proof that no superhero can go to college without there being some consequences.
Yeah, no.
Yes,
not at all.
Yes. Who's a better voice actor at this point, Giancarlo Esposito or J.K. Simmons?
Ooh, man, I'm gonna say J.K. Simmons, man. His Omni-Man is just freaking awesome,
dude.
And
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's just got that voice.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? Who would be more terrifying? I give you all the non-relevant tasks. Who's more terrifying? J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man or J.K. Simmons as Schillinger from Oz?
I'm actually gonna say J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man.
Because cancel culture is real. Cancel culture is real.
I love
the fact you've got the most hard folks that you've never seen Oz. You need to watch Oz. Oz is a great show.
It's probably one of the best.
If you're familiar with Law and Order Special Victims Unit, one of the great ironies of Law and Order Special Victims Unit is that many of the actors who play staunch advocates for people who are abused and victims of sex crimes in Law and Order SVU were serial offenders in Oz, especially J.K. Simmons and Christopher Maloney. It's like, wait, J.K. Simmons, when he was on SVU, played like the kindly psychiatrist who's like, come, tell me your vulnerabilities, I'll be here for you. And I remember Schillinger when he tattooed old boy, like in like the third episode of Oz. I'm like, yeah. And then Christopher Maloney, who again, and if for folks that have never watched Oz, then we'll move forward. Christopher Maloney plays the most sympathetic serial rapist who's also a racist. He makes you feel empathy for a racist serial rapist. That's acting.
Yeah,
that's acting.
There are very few people that can do that.
We gave a boy to play like White Dragon some love. Come on now. He made that character like, oh, he hates people of color and he rapes people who he thinks he cares about, but he really just needs a hug. Right. Right. By the way, no way I will. One thing I think I'm done having kids, but I'll tell you this way. Here's a sign here's a name I would never name a child. Tobias. And then we'll move forward. If you don't get it, watch the show. All right, sir. Let's go.
All right. So my movie of the weeks, and actually this is probably one of the best movies of the year.
Okay.
Hunger Games, Songbirds and Snakes.
Really? Okay.
It is. This is the sleeper of the year.
Okay, it's got Viola Davis in it, so it's got to be good.
Man, this movie, she's fantastic in it. However, and I can't think of his name, but the guy that plays the young Snow steals the movie. He's the best part about it. He's freaking golden. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants after this. The movie is absolutely fantastic. I can almost guarantee it's going to be in my top 5 movies of the year when we do that podcast next month.
So it says his name is Tom either Blythe or Blith. I'm not sure the pronunciation.
So good.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my gosh, man.
So first off, if you go by the name Snow, you better be cool. I mean, see what I did there. But no, seriously, whether we're talking Jon Snow,
or you got to be an informer.
Okay. I will give you right now $100 if you can give me word for word a Snow lyric right now.
Because we boom boom now.
That wasn't far off. That was
I know,
not
dude.
far off.
So
Do you
quick,
remember? Do you
quick
remember
tangent on
Liquid
snow.
Tele? Yeah. Do you remember Liquid Television on VH1?
I do.
I remember they did the Snow Informer video, and they
Yeah,
did like the sing along to that, like the bouncing ball, and
and
it
the words don't make
actually
sense.
and they actually gave the lyrics. And there's one point because he would rap so fast, they
Yeah,
literally just did it as gibberish. Like we
yeah.
can tell you what the lyrics are, but you can't hear them. So even knowing what they are, no,
It
as
doesn't
fast as
matter.
he rap, plus that weird Canadian Jamaican
Yeah,
accent of people who could not have a career now, it's Snow. You could not
yeah.
go, hey, I'm Canadian, but in my heart I'm Jamaican. And you
Mhm.
basically come with a Jamaican accent, but only when you rap and you are a lily white boy is that a thing. Like, that's
Yeah.
not a thing. Like, Vanilla Ice might be a little problematic. Snow is getting canceled. Like, you're
Well, he
what?
might be a little bit under pressure. Thanks for the layup, buddy.
That's my guy. That's my guy. All right, for that right now, I'm gonna just end the show for 2 seconds. For that right now, you have now become my better nuts human of the week. That, sir, sir, very good, very good. All right, all right. So, tell me a little bit more about Hunger Games, and I'll tell you my hot one. So you
Man,
said Hunger Games is really good. So you think it's gonna be in your top 5? All right,
yeah, it's absolutely going to be at least in my top 5, if not even maybe even a little bit higher. Um, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I mean,
sure,
because you know how it ends up.
sure, sure.
It is done so well.
Okay,
They figured out a way to make 3 mini movies into one movie, and you start off. You have all of the feels at different parts for Snow
mm-hmm.
in throughout the movie. You're like, at first you're like, how are they going to how are they going to make us hate him by the end of the movie? And
Okay,
the way that they do everything is beautiful. They made so many great choices in that movie. It is great.
all right.
Um I mean, man, like it's just wonderful movie. I saw it twice.
Oh, really? Okay, and it
I
was
mean,
worth it both times.
it was worth it both times.
Okay, fair.
Once I did take it, the second time I did take a little bit of a nap in it because I did a sleep study at the VA the night before. And
Ah,
a sleep study, you don't
don't
really
sleep.
sleep
Yeah,
very
that's
much,
kind of the
man.
thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But man, it is so good.
All right,
You man, like even if you're not a big fan of the Hunger Games movies,
sure,
even you're gonna want to rewatch them when
sure,
it's done.
sure. All
So,
right, fantastic.
what do you got, buddy?
Okay, so my favorite, my show of the week was going to be again Loki. So you've talked a lot about that. So what I want to delve into, we can just take a little bit of a deep dive, and then we'll talk about some stuff when it comes to
Yeah,
our Bass Reeves chat is Marvel. So Marvels will be my movie of the week. That's the only movie I really got a chance to go see.
sweet.
Hey, we had made a trip to the theaters together, and that was great.
Yeah.
So Marvels, and I know the haterverse is coming hardcore
Mm-hmm.
for this movie. It's I think I saw that it is considered, it has the lowest rating as far as audience approval regarding this, and it's really just becoming subject to the trolls out there.
Yeah.
Was it the best Marvel movie? No. Was it the worst Marvel movie? Absolutely not. I mean, Kamala Khan, the character, steals the film,
Yeah.
as she should.
Yeah.
As she should. That movie should not have been centered on Captain Marvel. That movie should not be centered on Monica Rambeau. That movie should have been centered on Kamala Khan, and it was. And everything about her characterization, the family's characterization, and again, when I was talking to a friend of mine about this, is they actually gave us what they were not able to give us with Peter Parker. Here's what I mean by that. Bear with me for a couple seconds. So Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, in the Marvel MCU, that's redundant. In the MCU, is a really unique character. So number one, she's a child. She's
Mm-hmm.
under 18. The majority of the Marvel characters that we at least see predominantly are adults, right?
Yeah.
Even the ones we get a bit of an origin story, they are full-on adults. We see Tony Stark become Iron Man. I'm an adult. I'm going to be Iron Man. We see Steve Rogers become Captain America. We see various things happen to these individuals. Even when we get the Spider-Man, we don't get an origin story on Spider. We didn't need one, but even the idea of Peter Parker, we see Peter Parker still living a life as Peter Parker, not really talking about what that interaction is with his family, right? Even though Aunt May knows, Peter's still doing Peter for the most part. With Miss Marvel, we really get to see, and this is great, I think, we really get to see what it would be like if you're not only a teenager who becomes a superhero and also Peter Parker becomes a hero when we're first learning about superheroes. So Kamala Khan wants to be a superhero. Kamala Khan becomes a superhero, and then her family is aware of her powers. She does not have a secret identity within her house, so you don't see her stuffing outfits and hampers and changing in phone booths and all that sort of stuff. Her family is fully aware of who she is, and they have to figure out how to do these things. And you see that really come to more fruition and detail in the Marvels. Again, is it the best thing Marvel's put out? No. Is it the worst thing? No. And honestly, that piece of the film is really just, the more I think about it, is so important just because it shows, we live we really, since the Christopher Nolan Batman series, we've seen people try and bring the world of the fantastic and ground it a little bit more, right? And this is a perfect grounding of that, she's a teenager. She's Muslim. She's a woman of color. All these things. She's also sort of superhero. And how on earth, as a parent, do you send your child off into danger every single day, but also be a parent? And I just loved how they really explored those themes. Not only in the TV show, we got them explored even more in the Marvel show.
100%, man. We've talked about this several times, and yes, there are a lot of yes, there are some things that I didn't really like about it, but you know what I loved about it? I loved watching my kid, what my 11 and my
Yes.
14-year-old
Yes.
daughters
Yes.
watch this movie,
Yes.
and then them say, you know what, I want to watch this again and again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you know what?
Yes.
For all of his faults, I don't care. I was
Yes.
entertained by it. Do I
Yes.
wish they would have done something more with Nick Fury? Yes, I
Yes.
absolutely do, because you don't get Samuel L. Jackson to be a babysitter as Nick Fury. I don't want to see that.
Right.
I mean,
We
granted,
got to
he's
get
awesome.
but the Flurkins are kind of adorable though. We got to give him love to the Flurkins.
Yes,
And to see him being the creepy cat guy, look
yeah,
at the Flurkins. That
right?
was like. And again, give love. You and I both grew up watching Top Gun. Just every time that the ghost, I mean, the goose drops, it's like, damn, Skippy. Somewhere Anthony Michael is feeling like, yes,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
very much.
Also,
But
the villain.
yes,
The villain, the
it
storyline
needed
was
work.
fine.
It needed work.
Yeah, but she didn't check the boxes for a villain. I even say villain because I can't remember her name
Yes.
after
Yes.
watching the movie twice.
Yes. And that's
So-
been a struggle with, because the villain is in the Kree, and we've not gotten much exposure to the Kree. I mean, the Kree were
Right.
in Guardians of the Galaxy. The Kree were a little bit in Captain Marvel, but the thing is, they didn't have her in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. They didn't have this character in Captain Marvel. We've not seen this character before.
Yeah.
So to dismantle what makes us so intimidating. In retrospect, had they introduced this character either in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 or in the previous Captain Marvel, because again, if they had played on maybe her in Veers, as she was known to Captain Marvel, had they been friends, similar to like a Green Lantern Sinestro dynamic, then that would have served this better. Introducing someone new and giving, really, even with the vignette trying to explain, it just didn't go deep enough. But one of the things you said, Brad, really resonates with me is this. So I have seen every single thing that Marvel has put out as part of the MCU, as have you, as has most of a lot of people who share our love and fandom of these things. And I will say, as a general rule, the movies are probably geared toward our demographic.
Yeah.
However, our demographic is not every demographic. And so if there's parts of this movie that I didn't particularly love, I've heard there's numbers that I hate it.
Yeah.
But there are parts of it that didn't resonate with me. Guess what? When you're talking about how your daughters dug the movie, guess what? That's who this movie is for.
Yeah.
And so it's two old dudes. We can just go, you know what? Wasn't for us.
Yeah.
Wasn't for us. And you know what? At that point, and that's okay. That's when we stop and go, but for young women, young girls, just women and girls, period. That if you look at these, I would run out of fingers
Mm-hmm.
if I tried listing off the strong male role models that we see in all the Marvel. Then we just stuck
Yeah.
to Marvel. I so and we just go list.
It's endless.
So Marvels is designed for young women
Mm-hmm.
and great for them.
Mm-hmm.
And great for them. So if they see something in Captain Rambeau, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and we didn't see it and how it came across, but your little girls, forget little girl. If
Yeah.
people who share a closer identity to those three individuals go, this was me reflected, cool. And more
Exactly.
and more and more of it. And more of it.
And
And
all
more
you
of
have
it.
to do to be successful is not make Andor.
Yes. By the
I
way,
mean,
going back to Endgame, I remember people being pissed off at the thing where we had the little thing. And remember, Endgame was a 3-hour movie.
right.
I remember people online being salty when we had the little scene, and
For all
stress
the
how you have to frame this, the little
yeah.
scene where all the female, or at least the major female characters in the MCU really fought to protect the Infinity Gauntlet. And people
Yep.
being like, was that necessary? Yes, damn it, it was necessary. Just like Wakanda is necessary. Yes, yes, hell yeah. So that makes me want, so for anything, any shortcomings that we may view as shortcomings of Marvels, you know what? For the people who are designed for your daughters, if they saw themselves in that, good for them, because you know what? Everybody can be a hero.
Exactly, man. And I think you and I look at these things a lot different than a lot of other people. That's why you should listen to us more than other people. I
Sir.
mean, because we liked She-Hulk. I mean, a lot of
We
people
did.
hated She-Hulk. Man, we praise that show
Yes.
every freaking week. I mean, neither one of us got Andor because it was so stupid. But like, man, we get the joke, right? Like
Yes.
in Marvels, the Marvels, I don't see anything wrong with it
No. And in
at
fact,
all.
again, if you are, because you and I also are comic book nerds,
Mhm.
there was a lot of the things. And again, I think once, and I really hope so, I think once Marvels comes out on streaming and comes out in various like DVD
Yeah.
and other formats, and you can watch it and rewatch it over and over again, people are going to get. There was a lot of comic book lore and reference in little pieces. Just the one scene where Kamala Khan is trying to give Captain Rambeau a call sign, a code name, and she ran through, because again, just to go divergent. If you look at the Captain Marvel character, meaning Carol Danvers,
Mhm.
and the character of Captain Marvel in Monica Rambeau, both of them have had a slew
Yeah.
of other names, and they kind of use them in different places in the movie of trying to give Captain Rambeau, Monica Rambeau, her call sign. I think I know where
Yeah.
this is going. But even that goes, if you get the source material, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was that. So with that, we've talked about, now I want to put about our lovely spoiler alert, because this is the part that, again, you're not seeing the movie and you don't want a spoiler. This is where you might want to diverge for just a moment, because again, I'm not even going to grade the movie, because I think the movie wasn't meant for me, and I think that's awesome. The movie wasn't meant for me. But here's the part: is after the end of Marvels, we get that moment, and this is for real, and this is why the S stands for Beast, is where we have Monica Rambeau,
Mhm.
Captain Rambeau, goes into a new. And Brad, I thought about this after the movie, but I didn't want to share this. I want to do it during the podcast. So you see her wind up in a new universe. You see her wake up next to a person who looks like her mom,
Yeah.
and We see a character come into screen. By the way, it's a medical facility. She has an IV and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
We hear a medical professional with a certain
Fraser.
gravitas.
Yes.
Yes.
You do that well, man.
Thank you, thank you. A person who possibly may have been a psychologist, maybe a radio host.
I think so.
You know, he may have been in one of those situations where, you know, where maybe everybody knows your name.
Yeah, been
And
there.
may have fictionally been married to one of my crushes as a little boy, BB Newworth, Lilith. By the way, Lilith, mother of all monsters. That says a lot about me. It's a lot about your boy. We got Kelsey Grammer voicing Beast.
And he looked great. Beast looked
Yes.
amazing in that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and this is the Beast we want. All reference to the British guy who played in, who also played Jack and the Beanstalk, and all the thing who played Young Beast. Actually done pretty well.
Yeah.
This
Nicholas
is the
Hoult.
Beast we want. That Fraser Crane, Kelsey Grammer voice. That the last time we saw this, I believe, would have been in
Days of Future Past, maybe?
Thank you, Days of Future Past. Exactly. Which we now get. And then here's the deal. So remember when we left the movie theater, I said, well, maybe they have still in the same universe as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
She isn't, because if you remember the character that we saw in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, that actress who plays her mom, that actress was Captain Marvel. In this,
she's
the
binary.
character is binary. It's another universe.
Which is funny. Good call, because in the comics, binary is Carol Danvers.
As is Warbird and lots of different names.
Right,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, good job, man.
So I think number one, obviously, the most upfront of this that we're getting X-Men. And we're at least getting X-Men that are paying homage and keeping consistency from the X-Men of the Sony universe. So we're getting Kelsey Grammer as Beast. If again, my guess is if he wants to, there's space for Patrick Stewart as Doctor Strange, as Professor X, which again is great because Professor X in that universe dies in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You know, we've already know that we've got Hugh Jackman, who's going to reprise Logan / Wolverine in Deadpool 3. You know, there's obviously space for a lot of the individuals to reprise Jean Grey, Scott Summers, possibly Ian McKellen bringing back Magneto. But in this new universe, and even if they decide to recast some of these individuals, which is fair as well, because some of the actors, to be fair, Sir Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, some of them are getting a little long in the tooth. Hey, I would love to have you there. I'm not saying I'm not no ageism, no shade on your age, but it's not to maybe recast somebody. That's a great time to do this. But there's a lot of possibilities. There's I think this is the thing that Marvel is, that the current MCU is doing the best is those movies happened. We watched those movies. We love those movies. We got to see Wolverine use his claws in the Statue of Liberty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got to see Magneto lift up the Brooklyn Bridge. You know, we got to see
Iceman give Logan an ice cold beer.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite scenes in all the X-Men movies.
Absolutely. We got to see by the way, if you don't give us Rogue, please,
and Gambit together.
Yes.
Please.
And give it to her as, and I just blanked on her name just that quickly.
Anna Paquin?
Yeah, please. Pretty please.
Yeah.
Please.
She can still do it.
Please. Of all, just give me one moment for her. Give me one moment for Sookie and True Blood. When you have Snoop, who really made a song that the entire lyrics were, Sookie. Like right there. And by the way, Brad, did you see the Snoop did a press statement? He has given up smoking.
I did not. I don't believe it.
However, that is all he says is giving up smoking. He didn't say of what. So I think maybe he was putting out his pack of cools. Is what that means.
I think, and that's probably more accurate.
Yes,
dude.
right.
I saw that he's doing a 30th anniversary of Doggy Style, and I feel I don't know how I feel like
Hey,
that
dog, I was 30 years old.
right. I
Yeah,
mean, man, the
which
CD
makes us
just came out
31.
like
It
2
makes
years
us
ago, man.
31. It makes us both 31. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
But talk about a great album. Okay, so anyway,
Yes.
back to
Yes, it
Marvel's
is.
fantastic. It opens a lot of doors and really cool, which is going to lead to what we're going to talk about next.
Mhm.
But before we jump into that, let's switch gears because I want to come back because I know we got a lot of Marvels I want to talk about. But let's talk a little bit about one of the things we first said we are going to chat about, which is the impact of Taylor Sheridan and possibly doing potentially more bio series similar to what he did with Lawman Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
So number one is I think we're both really digging Lawman Bass Reeves. I watched the most recent episode earlier today. I love the way the show is going. I think we're gonna get, if you've not seen the most recent one, I think where we're gonna see a shift in the show starting next week is really following the mythos of Mr. Sundown, which I'm really excited
Mhm.
for. But and the show actually gets a little bit of hate online. The show gets some hate that there's not enough happening. I think Slow Burn is okay. I
I
think
think
Slow Burn is just fine.
yeah, I did not this episode, granted, it didn't get you a lot of places,
Sure.
but it's setting it up for a lot of places,
Mhm.
and it sure in hell isn't an Andor.
Right. Or I will also say in my love of anime, I remember sitting and watching many a Dragon Ball Z episode and just watching Goku powering up for 30 minutes like,
There's my power up face.
okay.
Or pooping face. I don't know.
Yes,
Whatever.
once we got past like 15 minutes, like, so there's not going to be a fight. It's going to be you powering up. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and exploring the complicated of Vegeta Bulma relationship. I can't stand you, but somehow we're going to have kids.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, why the hell would you name your kid Trunks? Of all the names to name a child, Trunks.
Because you're an idiot, drunk.
Trunks.
I got nothing, man. Got nothing.
Trunks. And it's not a nickname. That's on his
No,
birth
this is.
certificate.
I mean, how do you like? What's short for that? You go Trey, I guess, or
Hey,
Unks?
yeah, like, hey, Trunks. Like, yeah. Hey, Dad, where'd my name come from? I went swimming. Your mom went in labor. I couldn't think of anything. Like Trunks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
We had to postpone that vacation, so I had to unpack the trunks. I don't even know. Okay, I digress. All right. So anyway, so we're looking at potentially what would be some historical figures, because you and I both, I think we shared this some last time we podcasted.
Yeah, we love Taylor Sheridan.
We love us some Taylor Sheridan. And again, if y'all have not Googled or researched Taylor Sheridan, number one, looks like a dude whose name would be Taylor Sheridan. And number two, looks like a dude who his primary acting credits were being on Walker, Texas Ranger. Okay, it looks like if Chuck Norris had a baby, well, Chuck, I don't think has had multiple children, but it looks like literally he could sue Chuck Norris for child support. Like, all right, like he could sue the beard. He could sue the beard for child support.
Dude, you're right. I never. So I have to add one more to my list now.
By the way, and not sidekicks Chuck Norris, but like real Chuck Norris.
Okay. All right. Well, the first one on my list that I think a good Taylor Sheridan show would do this is a layup from my tag team partner, would be Chuck Norris, starring and written by Taylor Sheridan. Because there is a story with Chuck Norris, and I think it would be interesting. I mean, the dude is in his 80s; he's in amazing shape. And I mean, like when
he's also a bitter old white guy, but hey, hey, so's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, when Chuck Norris does a push up, he's not pushing up; he's pushing the earth down. You know what I mean? Like we could tell facts about Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I think beard will win? Chuck Norris's versus like Gandalf. So you got a magical beard versus like this a gristled Texas beard. Which one do you think is gonna win?
I mean, Chuck Norris, 100%.
Just the beard.
It's the beard, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
I mean, it's like when Chuck Norris was in all the Star Wars movies, right? He was the Force.
He is the Force. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, and I forget the name of his thing, but not Jensen Ackles, but the other gentleman from Supernatural.
Jared Padalecki.
Yeah. Okay. So when they came to you, and that's seriously, and hey, I'm not telling anyone to turn down a check. I would say everybody's hustle. But when they came to you, going, hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a more relatable version of Walker Texas Ranger. You're gonna be a softer version of Chuck Norris, and you go, yeah, let's do that.
Right? You're like,
Because
I,
trust me, that's what the world was asking for. We want a Chuck Norris we can all hug. Like, that's a thing.
I mean, can you imagine the like? Hey, can no, no to do this? We want to see your spin kick. Like
Right.
I got nothing but I'm a pretty face.
I
Jared,
tried
you're
watching
hired.
Walker, and all it made me wish was that Soldier Boy would show up and just ripping to pieces. Like, come
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Come on. Okay.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
Oh.
y'all in the Supernatural for this? For
So
this? Okay.
I'm gonna bet that Supernatural's gonna come back.
It's there was some unanswered thing, and again, it did well. And by the
Yeah.
way, for every and again, I really mean this. For every season of Grey's Anatomy, they owe us 2 seasons of Supernatural.
100%. That would be.
That's how the world
Yeah,
balances
that's
itself.
right. That's right. That's how you balance things out. Yeah.
All right. So after Chuck, who you got, my friend?
Okay, now this I got 2 on my list that I
Okay.
don't think would be Taylor Sheridan,
Okay.
but I want your thoughts on. Okay,
Sure.
so one, I want the real Elvis. I want Elvis Presley. I want to talk. I want to like the people that like maybe
That's
inspired
good.
or ripped off or he ripped off. I want to know that story.
Yes.
And nothing current. No, I mean, yes, if you really want, you could do Bubba Hotep. Thing, you're welcome.
Fair.
I mean, we got to get a Bruce Campbell mention in every episode
Fair.
now.
Would you have Austin Butler reprise the role as Elvis?
Yes, absolutely, because he's fantastic at it. But yes, I think that would be a cool show. Movie, whatever.
I am honestly giving you all the big ups. I'm thinking, why did I not think of Elvis? That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. All right.
Now, do you think you think Taylor Sheridan could pull something like Elvis?
I think if anyone could do Elvis as a series, that's the whole thing why I said not a documentary movie, but a docu-series. Because the series is harder to keep people engaged in, I think.
Yeah.
And I think Taylor Sheridan has a good way of making, again, the slow burns and making us want to do week after week. So I would definitely give him the try, just by the fact that I think, could you imagine the soundtrack? Not only, I think you would have a lot of Elvis stuff, as you should, but I think you get in some just really, again, we like to say, because I think if we had to say one person the soundtrack of this show is Chris Stapleton, but I think you could have some Chris Stapleton, some I mean, it's hearing a lot of just really good music.
Yeah.
And none of it being Taylor Swift. Music you put in this. So no, I would love to see Taylor Sheridan take a stab at Elvis as a series. And again, I agree with you. If we could talk Austin Butler into reprising that role, it would be great.
Awesome. And then this one would absolutely this one would have to be a Taylor Sheridan. I'm going to keep it back into the Old West.
Okay.
And we're going to talk Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
Sir.
One,
I'm afraid to give you my list now. Your list is so much better than mine. Yes. Yes.
And if somehow you could get Kurt Russell in it in some way.
Okay.
I mean, like, it'd be awesome. You can pick up anywhere they want. I mean, like, of course you get the freedom there, Taylor Sheridan, because, this is all you, buddy. But yeah, and got to have somebody cool to play Doc Holliday, man. Man, I can't even think of anybody cool right off the top.
I'm thinking about Tim Rosen, who played him in Wynonna and Earp. Could you maybe steal him over? And again, you make it more of a grounded version, but I think he had all
a non-vampire.
Yeah, I think he had, and that's where the show jumped the shark. When you made Doc a vampire, I was like,
but he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah. And they killed off Dolls, I think, way too soon. Way too soon. Yeah. But all right. But he became Mr. Nobody in John Wick. So maybe we get him in Wick 5. Maybe we
I
get
hope
him in
so.
Wick
I
5.
mean, I just would get John Wick in Wick 5. So
Yes, they got to give us John Wick in Wick 5
right.
because if not, I was like, okay. Yes.
All
All right, my
right.
friend. What else you got?
After that, I'm gonna stay in the Old West,
All right.
and I want to see what he could do with Billy the Kid. I
Oh,
mean, Young
yes.
Guns 2 is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I
Yes.
think part of it is the burning whorehouse where the lady just comes out. I think that might be part of it.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes
then
and
you got
yes.
the John Bon Jovi's "Blaze of Glory." I think that was
Oh
one of
my
my
God.
one of my first like albums I listened to over and over and over again.
I would tell you, even as a black kid growing up in the South, I was like, I love me some John Bon Jovi.
Right. I
Like
mean,
I
like,
was like, damn, Skippy. All right, like that made me want to go like explore Jersey. I'm like, come on, John. Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Plus, I heard Richardson. Plus, when I found out Richardson Borough was married to Valley Bertinelli, I'm like, so you telling me he takes it one day at a time?
Ooh,
You like that?
I like that a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. After Billy the Kid, here's one I think that would be the best thing that Taylor Sheridan would ever do.
Okay. I'm hyped for this.
Okay. Now, it would be called The Presidents, and it would start with George Washington and just tell them. So the first few episodes be all about George Washington. Gradually, you're going to introduce the future presidents, and you're just going to keep on going all the way until 45, 46, 48, whatever we're on.
Okay.
And I think because he's really, really good at giving us that slow burn. He knows how to do it right.
Yes.
And I think you could make that political, intrigue, especially in the beginning ones. I don't think anybody would really care about the more recent, but
Yeah.
especially the founding fathers.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stories you could tell set in those days.
Well, I think also part of me goes, if you connected with like Aaron Sorkin from like the West
Mhm.
Wing, could we do that? And by the way, since you brought this up, the president, you got to give it to Rosalind Carter, who was Jimmy Carter's wife. She actually passed earlier today.
Oh,
77 years of marriage. Let's say that one more time.
wow.
Not that she was not 77 years of life, which is by itself a hell of a run,
Yeah.
but being married to another human being for 77 years.
Yes.
I mean,
R.I.P.
that was going to be my Bareness Human of the Week before you stole it with your fantastic riff earlier. But legitimately, Jimmy Carter, Rosalind Carter, again, as a Southerner, myself from the state of Georgia. But yeah, so I mean, I think there's a lot of great stories to tell. And I think Taylor Sheridan could do. And again, my head goes to Aaron Sorkin. I'm such a huge
Mhm.
fan of the West Wing. If they could do some type of maybe Sorkin writes it, but Sheridan directs it.
Mhm.
But I think Savison that really looked at the president, because and again, while we both like Taylor Sheridan, is he has a way of giving you gritty,
Yep.
but also giving you entertaining,
Yeah.
which is really hard. You give gritty where it just kind of makes you. And the best part, and again, have you seen this week's Bas Reeves?
I did. Yeah.
Just that beginning, where he shows up at the lady's house and then everybody gets drunk and then they wake up the next day. I'm like, that's my guy. That's my
Oh,
guy. I feel a cameo coming.
so Leia, we were talking just a little bit ago. We were talking about the Marvels. Why don't you get on here? I want you to talk about the Marvels for a minute. Into the mic.
I have one word for the Marvels.
Okay.
Well, technically, it's more than one.
Don't
word.
screech.
Okay.
Do not yell.
Okay.
Kitties!
They're flirkins.
Flurkins. They're not cats. They are not cats. They're
All right.
flurkins.
I have a funny story to tell that just happened.
Okay. What's your funny story?
So, I made a smoothie, or at least mommy made a smoothie for me. Blueberries, bananas, and strawberries, by the way. Because you gotta stay healthy without that sugar.
Really good. That sounds really, really good.
I told grandma she could try some, and she said that it was sour. Like she was like, "Oh,
I like sour though. Your dad seems to be digging it.
Yeah, but now I know where he gets his whole sour thing from.
I love me some sour. I love me some sour.
I gave him a Laffy Taffy once, and this was like 6 years ago. And I gave him a Laffy Taffy, and he died of sourness, and he's like, "You're grounded." I wasn't actually grounded.
Okay, say bye bye.
Bye bye. By the way, I think she puts a little bit too much blueberries in it.
All right, bro. Hey, before I forget, because I know you love you some sour. Fleet. If you get a second, if you go by Fleet Farm, they sell bags of sour taffy. It will change your life.
Really?
So if you like sour candy, Fleet Farm, get the sour taffy. It is fantastic. All right.
So last weekend, wife and I went out for our anniversary. We were in Stillwater, Minnesota.
Okay.
And I have to say this about Minnesota. Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes.
Yes.
And 10,000 Fleet Farms.
There it is.
Dude, like I swear everywhere we looked, there was a Fleet Farm.
It's a sign, bro. So next time you're around a Fleet Farm, again, I think it's like $4 a bag, and they're phenomenal. Phenomenal.
They have some of the best candy.
Right?
They really, really do.
It's weird. So if anyone's listening outside of the state of Iowa, here's a few of the things we'll say. Fleet Farm, which basically sells like lumber and building equipment, has really good candy. Costco has amazing cakes, and yes, our gas station chain, Casey's, the best pizza.
Yeah, it's
gas station pizza, and it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
but no other reason than this. Both Ashton Kutcher and his wife love some pizza. And Casey's, if you're listening, and we know you are, how on earth do you not have an ad campaign with just Mila Kunis eating Casey's pizza? Because at that point, I would probably take a second or third mortgage on my house for Casey's pizza.
Right? Yes.
All right, sir. So you got one more?
I got one more.
Okay, sure. Hit me.
So this one here, have you ever heard of Sir John Herschel?
No, but I now want to hear more.
So Sir John Herschel he created this thing called the first great moon hoax. This is from like the 1850s, 60s, sometime around there. And in New York, he had this telescope that he was claiming that he could see a colony on the moon, and pyramids of diamonds and bat-like humanoids. This is like 40, 50 years before Batman.
Forever. Okay.
Right. So he wrote 12 articles about this in what was then considered to be like the New York Times, right?
Okay.
And everybody went crazy. And then he came out and said that it was all a joke afterwards. But like this story, I love. Like I have read, like looked at the papers. You can see all 12 articles online.
Yeah, sure.
It's super, super cool. I think it'd be a really cool, tongue-in-cheek, like, so not super serious, but still just a cool thing.
Well, part of you goes like Orson Welles, even any of those people.
Yeah.
Think about it. And this isn't on my list. Could you imagine Taylor Sheridan with like Vincent Price?
Dude, I would love that. I would love to see something about Vincent Price.
I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, we talked about this a little bit when we were back in October. We had a couple odes to him. Looking about Scooby-Doo and 13 Ghosts and all that sort of thing. But Vincent Price, legit. I'll if you're anyone in there, let's say between 30s and 40s. Vincent Price, I mean, he was the voice of the Thriller video, 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. He had an entire film career as basically when horror movies, before they became the world of gore with Jason and Freddy, it was really Vincent Price and Elvira. I mean, the guy legit, by the way, for Elvira. Elvira. Okay, that's my Oak Ridge voice. Anyway, just of all the people who have made great. All right, those are great ones. I've got a couple that I'm going to throw out myself. Just today, I really want to jump into a little bit more Fantastic Four because I know we're running a little long on time tonight. So number one, I'm going to throw out, because I'm going to give you just my pitches of who these movies would be and who I would have play them. So I'm starting with Leonardo da Vinci. Okay.
Okay.
And you've got this guy who just incredible. And we had, whether you want to talk about from the Da Vinci Code
Mhm.
to the Star Show to all these things, but I think it'd be great to have someone delve into what would it be like to be Leonardo da Vinci, this brilliant person, all these ideas, and whether you delve into the Illuminati or not, the person I would have played Leonardo da Vinci would be our boy Pedro Pascal. Basically, what I'm saying is, anytime there's a role that I want someone to really nail it, I'm saying Pedro Pascal. Okay, because Pedro Pascal is the way.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
is
This is the
the
way.
way. Yes,
And we'll
sir.
get into a little bit more of that very, very quickly.
And very, very quickly. Up next, we got, okay, bring it to the U.S. a little bit, Abraham Lincoln. Okay, we know he was a president, 16th president.
Yep, Daniel
He,
Day-Lewis.
yes, we heard him as Daniel Day-Lewis. He even was a vampire hunter.
He
But I think
was.
it'd be very cool to look at him and I would say if Taylor Sheridan do this, I would do this as a docuseries of only 1 week before the Gettysburg Address, because that was so powerful. Just as what this is, because again, if you know anything historical about this, Abraham Lincoln's initial plan, and I don't mean this sarcastically, Abraham Lincoln's initial plan was not to abolish slavery. Lincoln's initial plan was to move all African Americans, all slaves, to South America. That legitimately was his plan. It was not logistically feasible. So then he had to write a Gettysburg Address and move towards abolishing slavery. But that was not my boy's initial plan. So I think we got to delve into that. And if I'm going to have someone play Abraham Lincoln, it's going to be our boy Liam Neeson. I think he would just do that depth. He can obviously lose his accent. And the Irish brogue is also hella cool.
And he's got a certain list of talents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you imagine him going into the theater going, hey, at the end of this movie, I will find you. Okay. All right.
Getting into John Wick's both.
Yes. So Shirley Chisholm. If you don't know Shirley Chisholm, she was the first African American to serve in Congress, also as an African American woman. And talked a lot about just her. And again, we did more of a historical civil rights view. I can't think anyone better play her than Viola Davis. I love Miss Viola Davis. She could bring some of that woman king energy to it. And my last two is Gordon Parks. Now, you may not know Gordon Parks. But Gordon Parks is he was a long-term photographer for Essence magazine. But more importantly, he was the first African American to write and direct on his own a movie that was produced by a major company, including his second work was one I'm sure you know, and that was that movie called Shaft. I'm just talking about Shut Your Mouth.
Yeah.
So if you look at Gordon Parks, he's got a very distinguished, remember he's still with us, but he's famous for having a very distinct mustache, not unlike Bas Reeves. So if I was to do this, I would cast it with two different individuals. I'd have an older Gordon Parks to narrate it, and who else better to do that than our boy Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
But in a flashback version of the lived experience of Gordon Parks, it would be Giancarlo Esposito, who again, if it's not going to be Pedro Pascal, is going to be Giancarlo Esposito. All right.
Yeah.
And then my last one is, just because I'm such a fan of his career, and RIP, is Muhammad Ali. And Ali was done really well by one Will Smith.
Yeah, as long as you get your name out of your mouth. Yeah. If we time that right.
Yeah. So we're going to make this one free from the entanglement. And start off. And by the way,
actually, before we get it going on that, did you see that they're doing the 50 years of hip hop, and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince are going to do they're going to do something for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course they should. Yeah. But I really somehow want I want Uncle Phil to show up and throw DJ Jazzy Jeff onto the stage. Like, yeah, that's what I want.
And then Carlton coming up doing the Carlton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, and I did shows in our show. This has become my new. I don't even call it my secret shame because I really love the show. I had watched the first couple seasons of Dancing with the Stars and
Hmm.
was like, yeah, it's okay. Watching it this season, because with Alfonso Ribeiro, many people know him as Carlton from the
Yep.
Fresh Prince, as well as Julianne Hough, who was who was a dancer on the show. They do a great job on the show. So that's now become kind of my must see viewing is Dancing with the Stars. So I
Very
got
good.
to give a lot of credit for that. So my final one that I'm gonna throw out here is gonna be a docu series on the life of Muhammad Ali. And since we're going for one problematic individual, we might as well go to another because the guy definitely has the physique of a boxer. It is he who remains, Jonathan Majors.
Yeah,
I
man,
would
I can see
love to
that.
see him as Ali. I think he could pull it off really well.
All
And
right. I mean,
hopefully he's not. The only thing is, if you have Jonathan Majors on set, let him not keep it for anybody else's drinks.
make sure that it's timely.
You know, he was the perfect blend of Nicholas Tesla
He
and
was. He was one of the
and
best
Don
characters in
King
Loki season
with
2.
the hair. It was just beautiful. Okay. All right. Okay. So that would be my pick.
Yeah.
So with the time we're a little over an hour already, sir.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit, and I got a couple tasks. I really just want to
Mhm.
get your thoughts on. There's been some rumors. These rumors seem to have some weight to them
Yeah.
of the potential casting anyway, of the upcoming and this is going to be a movie, correct? It will be a
Yeah.
film,
Yep.
which we've said before on the podcast. If in Marvel, of course, you're gonna listen to us. If we were doing Fantastic Four, we do more of a Disney Plus series.
Hmm.
But if you're gonna do it as a movie, we have some of the thought process. We have some of the rumored individuals to play the primary 5 characters
Hmm.
in the Fantastic Four film. So let's just start off. I'll just throw them out here to you. Number 1 is Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, the leader,
Yes.
kind of central role of the film. So we went and saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where we got an inkling of Mr. Fantastic in an alternative universe.
Hmm.
And in that one, he was played by John Krasinski,
Yep.
who did I think, a fantastic job as Mr. Fantastic. And I know you're not discussed like, well, when they bring the Fantastic Four into it, then we already know it's going to be John Krasinski. But wait, possibly not. We have heard now rumors of it being our boy from The Mandalorian, our boy from the
The Last of Us.
thank you, the one, the only Mr. Pedro Pascal. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on that, sir?
I don't know. I think he'll do fine, but I can't. I want a more. I guess I haven't seen Pedro Pascal really do super lighthearted,
Yeah,
like I'm too smart. I'm the smartest guy in the room.
yeah.
Type. I mean, he can do the
He
I'm
can do
gonna do
badass
whatever.
really well. He can do
Right.
badass very well. Yeah.
And I think he could pull the look off. The only things that worry me is when I think of Reed Richards, because we know who Kang is, there
Yes.
has to be some type of resemblance because they're related.
Right.
And I don't, looking at them together, I don't see it yet. But
Yeah,
I guess
unless they
maybe
just
with the
take
white,
that part away from it. I mean, they could just
right? Yeah, they
take
could.
that out of the canon.
That's
But I
true.
agree
That's
with
true.
you. I mean, again, and I think Pedro, I mean, I'm the last one to second guess casting, even though we do it every week on the show.
Yeah.
I personally would love. First off, let's stop real quick. John Krasinski is married to Emily Blunt, so let's just do this. Good job, sir.
Yep.
Good job, sir. But then the second piece of it is, I love the casting, and I would love to see them continue with that. This and this goes a little bit into what we had with the Sonyverse, when you have multiple actors playing the same character. So I would like to think that if you're going to establish in one product John Krasinski as Doctor Strange, excuse me, not Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, I would keep it going. And one article I read goes, if you just look at John Krasinski, he looks like Reed Richards.
He does in the comics, yeah.
I mean, if you barring the little salt and pepper, which they can add really easily, he looks like Mr. Fantastic. So I hope we go there. All right.
So now with Pedro Pascal, we're not going to get the origin of Fantastic Four, which is good. We don't need to see the origin of Fantastic Four.
Right.
We don't need to know where they have been. I mean, obviously, they're doing something against the multiverse to keep the I'm guessing that they're going to flush all that out of why they've been important through everything in Marvel without doing it. So, but we're going to have an older, chiseled Fantastic Four. So, which leads right into the hopeful casting of Dr. Doom.
Yes. So Mads Mikkelsen, who I think would be simply fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Fantastic. So if you don't know Mads Mikkelsen, number one, he already has a connection to the MCU, and the fact that we got a strong inkling of him in the original Doctor Strange movie. So as he played the villain in that movie, he also played Gellert Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts. So I mean, he's definitely down there. But we had him as Caecilius. I'm sorry, go ahead, go for it.
And he was the architect of the Death Star.
Facts. So I mean, he totally is a fan. And he totally could pull off Doctor Strange.
You know, he's the actor that I never knew I wanted for Dr. Doom.
Right.
The second I heard his name,
he's a hell of a director too. He's a hell of a director.
Yeah.
So I think having Mads would make perfect sense in that position. I mean, of all the potential casting, that's the one that I think, rumor mills being rumor mills, this is the one that we need. Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm, nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Joseph Quinn, again, who you may have seen, who you may know from Stranger Things, playing Johnny Storm. And then, again, talk about this will be an older group with Eban Bachrach, if I'm saying his last name correctly, playing Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. I like the idea of having this potentially be an established Fantastic Four. Similar to Spider-Man, a lot of people are either already know the Fantastic Four's origin story, of all origin stories. It's really simple. They're in space, they get exposed to cosmic rays, they develop these powers, right? I think what we saw in the Miles Teller movie was them trying to get too into the weeds of their development, and it made the movie feel a little bit rushed, right? So I think if they actually go away with that, and you can do flashbacks, I think within this, I think for me, my favorite Fantastic Four character has and always will be Ben Grimm. I think they need to give a little bit of the Thing there and talk about his struggle. Everybody else's power they can turn on and off. They pretty much look quote unquote normal versus the Thing. And that's why a lot of people go to the Thing versus the Hulk. Very similar in that their powered form does not fit into society as well as their depowered form. So I want them to give some ability to explore that, but you don't have to start with the origin story to do that. You can actually talk about how this person struggles with being, the Thing going forward. My only wish is that if they're gonna do Fantastic Four, if again, given what they've done from previous movies, that you bring in Kerry Washington, that you bring her in as the love interest of Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Because I just love Kerry Washington. She's a great actress. I think that would help with selling the movie.
Scandal, man, was such a great show. It really, really was. Here's something I just thought of.
Sure.
I want to see a scene with Thing and Korg.
I like that.
Just a scene and like Korg being like confused.
Even if
he's
they
not
pass each other like in the
like,
hallway,
oh
like
wait, are
yeah.
we
Are
like
we? Are you my? In that chord voice? Are you my cousin? Are
yeah.
you? Are you? Like yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be great. I think that would be great, and I would love to see it again. Who knows where these products go in the future?
Mhm.
Because again, when I give Marvel that, they give us a lot of the things that we want to see. So like when we go back to the original Avengers movie, we had that moment where the Hulk tries to pick up Thor's hammer and can't do it. That his feet are delving into the or going into the ground into the
Mhm.
hovercraft, the helicarrier, because he's not because the Hulk of any of them isn't worthy given his rage that
Yeah.
he can pick up Mjolnir. So I would love that at some point we got something where we got Smart Hulk or maybe not Smart Hulk versus the Thing. Like just
Yeah.
even if it's an Easter egg, like maybe they do an arm wrestling contest. There was always a thing of the Thing versus the Hulk. And the blue-eyed Hulk, and of course they similar to, and I hope they do this similar to they made us wait for Avengers Assemble. They need to give us a little bit of time before they give us this clobbering time. They need to
Oh,
give us a
absolutely.
little bit of that. Okay.
Yeah.
I got some tats regarding
Yeah, I
this.
want to hear
You
him.
got a minute? Okay.
Yeah.
So, who do you think? A couple of these are silly, but then the last one is that's what I really want your thoughts on.
Okay.
But the first one, who do you think would be a better dancer, Mr. Fantastic, Plastic Man, or the Elongated Man?
Okay, I'm gonna say the elongated man
Okay.
because he is the least serious of them all.
Really think he's less serious than Plastic Man?
Well, Plastic Man, I mean, he was a hardened criminal. So I mean,
True,
like he did
true,
time.
true,
So like
true.
he's on this redemption thing. So I don't think a
The other was a
dancing.
kid named Offspring. Get it? Yeah.
Yeah. But elongated man. Well, I guess I don't know a ton about elongated man, but
No
I
one
know I
does.
think he.
He's
Yeah.
everybody's. He legitimately a rip off
Oh,
of
Plastic
Plastic
Man,
Man.
like
Yes.
yeah. Here's my theory on how Elongated Man was created: is they meant to put Plastic Man in there and they forgot the
Not
name, so they're
never had
like,
a character.
they
Yeah.
just let's just make him the
Yeah.
Elongated Man,
Yeah.
or that they forgot that Plastic
Yeah.
Man was a character.
I will say Identity Crisis is a really good read, and
It
that's probably the
is,
best thing of Elongated Man.
absolutely, but back to Identity Crisis really quick.
Yeah.
Identity Crisis is one of the best things that DC has ever done.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That
it is a must read if you are into
one of
comics.
my favorite panels is Robin laying there with his father, half in Robin costume, half not, just laying there and seeing that piece and seeing that curse of the Batman
Mhm.
over and over and over again. That I think that's fantastic. All
Yeah.
right. So which one of these is the better quarterback?
Okay.
Played by Chris Evans. So
Ooh.
you've got Johnny Storm
Okay.
in either the first two Fantastic Four movies. You got Captain America in pretty much anything Marvel,
Mhm.
and then you've got Jake Weiler in Not Another Teen Movie.
Ooh.
Which one would you say?
Mhm.
Fourth quarter, 10 seconds left, one pass to make. Which of the Chris Evans characters would you have as your quarterback, sir?
Well, I'm glad you didn't bring up his character in Scott Pilgrim or in Push, because that might have changed it.
I don't know why I hated Push so much. I wanted to like Push. I hated Push. Like that made me dislike his casting. Initial Captain America. Like,
Uh-huh.
this dude just does every superhero movie that comes out. Like whatever. All right. But please go ahead.
Captain America. He
Okay.
can throw. He
Fair.
can throw the shield. So he's got to
Fair.
be able to throw a
Fair.
football.
Fair. 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 And then this is of the first two, which were silly. This one I actually want your serious thoughts on.
Okay.
If they existed in the same universe, which one of these teams would win in a face-to-face battle? The Fantastic Four, or in my opinion, the best Fantastic Four movies had to date, The Incredibles. Which one do you think will win? The Fantastic Four, and we'll go from the original Fantastic Four
Okay.
movie. Okay, so you've got that version of Fantastic
Right.
Four versus The Incredibles,
Okay.
which is the most thinly veiled rip off. Basically, it is less thinly veiled than Galaxy Quest is of Star Trek. Okay,
Yeah.
so who are you picking? And remember, we got it's 4 versus 4, so we've got Mr. Incredible,
Yep.
Elastigirl, Dash, and Violet. So we're gonna leave Jack Jack out of this for right. By the way,
Yeah.
Jack Jack is also Nathan Richards. Okay, there's
100%.
100%. So 4 on 4, 4 on 4. Who do you think's winning?
So I think that Mr. Incredible would have a hard time against the Thing.
Okay.
So the question is can I think they're going to kind of cancel each other out as of like the fight, right? So they're going to go head to head, right?
Okay.
So that's going to leave the mom, Violet, and I can't think of the boy's name.
Dash.
Yep, Dash.
Okay.
So you got super speed, you have force fields, and you have elastic.
Yep.
Mr. Fantastic, he might get all tangled up with the mama,
you know what I mean?
Right?
Well. Yeah.
Right. So I think Johnny Storm. I think Johnny Storm's gonna be what's better,
Dash.
speed or Dash.
Yeah, he beat Dash. I'm
gonna have to say
he's a grown up fighting the kid. So yeah, you would think he would be able to beat Dash. Okay.
Flame on.
Or depending on where you're at. Flame on. All right. So which that works for me too. Hey, whatever
floats your boat. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that if fight on fight, you think that the Fantastic Four would beat the Incredibles?
I do. What about you?
And I have to agree with that. For no other reason than I think you'd have a bit of a push with Miss Fantastic and Elastigirl versus, let's say, the Thing and Mr. Fantastic. But that would leave us with Johnny Storm and Sue Storm versus Dash and Violet. And given that they're kids, I think that the Fantastic Four would totally win. However, if we brought in Jack Jack, he's shutting it down.
But if you bring in Jack Jack, you're bringing in Nathan too.
Yeah. Nathan, I was never a huge
Nathan
Storm fan. I thought his backstory was way too convoluted. You know, he made Power Girls look straightforward. So yeah, but there's that. But I'd also love me some Jack Jack. All right, sir. So as we're kind of closing up our pod for this evening, sir, I've told you who was my bet on human. We agreed that it was going to be Rosalind Carter, but again, your drop totally made it you, sir. Who would be your better than human of the week for this week?
So I got to give it to somebody who released a new album this week.
If it's who I think you're saying, I'm jumping off the pod. Go for it.
Okay, and this is something that I never thought that I would say because I have never really been a fan.
No.
I will say she is an icon.
Okay,
she is an icon. I mean, like everybody knows her name. Everybody at least loves a part of her.
Okay,
she works 9 to 5.
Yes,
Dolly Parton.
Yes,
rocks
the rock album. Yes.
Have you listened to this yet?
I have.
So like this should not be good.
Yes.
Hearing Dolly Parton with Rob Halford singing a Judas Priest song should not be awesome.
But it is.
Right. I mean, but hearing her with Steve Perry of Journey, hearing her, like sing Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me.
Yes.
Hearing her do What's Up with Linda, gosh, I can't think of her last name, from Four Non Blondes.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love this.
This is proof for all the things that surround Dolly Parton, me and Dolly Parton. No shade. Dolly Parton is a musician. Dolly Parton is a singer. She plays her. I mean, she's a guitarist. She knows how to do these things. And Dolly Parton, and one thing I love so much about Dolly Parton is this goes way back to not this most recent induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but the previous year's induction, the 2022 induction. By the way, congrats to Missy Ellen and all the folks that were inducted. But Dolly Parton took it very seriously in that if she's going to be, because she goes, I'm a country artist, which she's already in, but if you induct me into the Country Music Hall of Fame, she goes, of course, I made my career there. I feel I stand on par with some of the better folks in country music. She goes, I'm not a rock and roll singer. This is not what my career has been. And all the time when we talk about music, it's going to be default to rock and roll as kind of the identity of American music.
Yeah.
So she goes, if I'm going to have a spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm going to do me a rock album, damn it. And Dolly Parton's easily got to be in her 70s.
Yeah.
And for her to come out there and play and sing and do the damn thing, yes, 100%. So give it to you, Miss Dolly. You brought it. And we're going to go back to have someone that needs a biopic. It's
Yeah.
Dolly damn Parton.
Agree, man. Like I don't know a ton, and I couldn't name 10 songs of hers.
Right.
But like the Rockstar album is fantastic.
And the thing of it is with Dolly Parton, so much of her music, we know the remakes of it. So the best example is I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. Again, R.I.P. to Whitney. But that's a Dolly Parton joint. And you've heard, if you listen to, okay, Dolly Parton, again, no shade. Dolly Parton vocally is not on the same level as Whitney Houston because very few people are. But if you take it to the fact that her version of it, the country of that is still very heartwarming and endearing. And that's a lot of what Dolly's music is. So I remember my mom loves some Islands in the Stream, her and Kenny Rogers. I mean, there's a lot of really good music
best
that
that's ever been made.
Yes, and that song has been sampled multiple times. So a lot of folks are fans of Dolly Parton music without knowing they're fans of Dolly Parton music. So she
Brian,
is fantastic.
Have you listened to Night Moves with Chris Stapleton?
No,
she does Night Moves, a Bob Seger song.
I was going to ask it, the Seger song? Okay.
Yep, Night Moves. I haven't listened to it yet either, but
dude, I'm keying it up right now. As soon as we are done, my brother.
Yeah, man,
I'm rocking out to that.
And she even covers Purple Rain. I haven't listened to that one either, but I mean, like, I'm not mad. I mean, they're okay. Like, pretty much there's only certain artists that I feel they should ever be able to touch Prince, but Dolly Parton is an icon of a different level. And if she's gonna, I mean, she could do a cover of anything, and you're gonna listen to it just because I want to see her spin on it. So like, yeah, the album is fantastic.
Sting, yes, I mean, there's so much.
It's, dude, I can't wait to hear what your thoughts on this.
I'm gonna check it out. Definitely the Purple Rain.
Yeah.
And then okay, Night Moves. Here it is. And that's first.
Yeah.
I'm just digging it already.
Right.
First off, to have and I mean this seriously, the guts to go, I'm gonna take one of the more popular American rock songs in Night Moves by Bob Seger, and I'm gonna tag team this with Chris Stapleton. And dude, she does a hell of a job. I'm only into like the first 30 seconds of it. It's really good so far.
Yeah.
So do you, Bob? I'm gonna say Bolly. Do you, Dolly? So yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and put a pin in this episode. Right, Brian, where can we get a hold of you and your loving of candy corn?
Yes, of all the candy corn love. All right, so for those of you that think you want to keep this rolling, I want to thank you again for being a part of what is the best part of our week. So you can find me on the Book of Faces Facebook at Brian Stephen Dennis. I try to give me a like, even follow. I try to keep it funny and sometimes weird. What about you, my friend?
All right, you can find me at the Fandemic 3 on the Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Message me on Facebook at the Fandemic. I'm also active on TikTok at Fandemic1. Hear my reviews and so much more. If you want to support the show, there's several ways you can do so. One, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/thefandemic. Find us on Patreon at patreon.com/PVOTN Fandemic. Become an episode assistant, an episode producer, and a pre-venge producer like Stacey. Or yes, you could be part of the Council of Nerds, starting at $5 a month. You could just go to PayPal or Venmo. If you just want to give me a couple bucks, that's fine. I won't say no at Bradley Butin, or just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review. So, Brian, we are at max levels of awesome. We like to end every show on a positive note. Speak truth, my friend.
I got you. So again, thank you all for joining us. What is the best part of our week? Hopefully one of the better parts of yours. Just a reminder that number one, you cannot stand backwards on stairs. Number two, never say die. And number three, Goonies, never say die. So thank you again for joining us. And Bradley, take it away, my friend.
Remember, friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. If cauliflower can become pizza, remember, my friends, you can do anything. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. Now, also, squirrels' cheeks are also their nut sacks. Don't let today end in a why didn't I? Have a great day. Bye bye.